The prayer of Prahlada, Skanda 7, chapter 9. Brahma and other devas, rishis, and wise men, full of sattva, have failed to adore thee in suitable words. How can this Asura boy please thee, O Hari? But I think it's not wealth, good birth, beauty, asceticism, learning, power, intellect, or even yoga that is so much suited for the worship of Paramapurusha as bhakti. It is by bhakti that the elephant king pleased Bhagavan. Even a Chandala, an outcast, is much superior to a Brahmana who has all the 12 virtues but has no devotion to Vishnu. For the Chandala who offers his manas, his words, his karma, his wealth, and even his prana to Vishnu purifies not only himself but his whole line, while the proud Brahmana does not even purify himself. Without devotion, the virtues only serve to increase pride. They do not purify the mind. The Almighty Vishnu does not want any offering from the ignorant for himself. He is possessed of all things. But the man who gives offerings to him can alone keep them to himself. For verily, the paintings on the real face are to be seen in the image. The self in man is only a reflection of Atma or Manas. Therefore, if a man does anything that affects his manas only, it does not concern his real self. If an offering is made to Ishvara, that reaches his real self. Therefore, though of low birth, I have no hesitation in reciting thy glory as much as I can, for such a recital is sure to purify a man. Withdraw, O Lord, this terrible form and be cooled. Look, the world trembles at thee. I am not afraid, however, even of this form, as I am afraid of the wheel of births. Give shelter at thy feet, that I may gain moksha. I have been scorched by the fire of misery in all births. The only remedy is devotion to thy service. For thy servant, by thy favor, gets the company of Mahatmas. By their company, he gets rid of all worldly attachments and sings the glory of Bhagavan. Then the miseries of life cannot overpower him. The parents are not the protectors of the child. Medicine is not the remedy for the diseased. The boat is not a shelter for the drowning, for they cannot save from a recurrence of evils. And even the little that others do is promoted by the prompter of all. When Purusha wishes, Maya, disturbed by Kala, creates the Sukshma Sharira, headed by Manas. That Manas is drawn into a world of recurring births, characterized by the transformations of Maya, five Gnanendriyas, five Karmendriyas, five Bhutas, and Manas. I am being squeezed in this wheel like the sugarcane in the mill. Draw me unto thee, O Lord, or I am lost in the whirl. Some platitudes and a short account of the part taken by Vishnu in the creation follow. Thou dost incarnate as man, animal, rishi, and deva in order to guard all beings, to destroy the enemies of the world, and preserve dharma according to the requirements of every yuga. But in Kali Yuga, thou concealest thyself. Hence, from manifesting only in three yugas, thou art called Triyuga. Lord of Vaikunta, this mind does not take pleasure in discourses about thee, as it is vitiated, prone towards the outside, unmanageable, passionate, and affected by the three promptings joy, sorrow, and fear. How can I, with such a mind of thee? I am drawn on all sides by the Indriyas, and I am as miserable as a man with many wives. I am not the only sufferer. Look, all men remain fallen by their own karma in the Vaitarani, river at the gate of Yama, of recurring births. They are afraid of births and deaths, and of danger from each other. They are mutually both friends and enemies. Take pity on these bewildered creatures, O thou that art on the other side of the river, and preserve them this very day by taking them across the Vaitarani. O guide of the universe, what is thy difficulty in saving all men? For thou art the cause of the creation, preservation, and destruction of the universe. Thou hast much kindness for the ignorant. Thou art the friend of the afflicted. What then by saving us only who serve thy favorite men, the Mahatmas, for those who serve the Mahatmas are already saved? O thou Supreme, I am not the least anxious for myself about the Vaitarani. However difficult to cross it may be, for my mind is plunged in the nectar ocean of singing thy glory. But I mourn for the ignorant, those that care only for the gratification of the senses and for the means of such gratification, while they remain estranged from thee. Generally, O Deva, the Munis are desirous of their own moksha. They hold their tongue and roam in solitude without caring for the good of others. But I do not like to be liberated alone. Leaving behind me the afflicted round me, I find no other shelter for these misguided people besides thee. They are not happy, O Lord, in the enjoyment of the objects of the senses. For, like itching, it's not a pleasure by itself, but seems to be so as long as thou art not known. It is said that holding the tongue vowed observance, which are called Mauna and Vrata, sacred knowledge called Shruta, austerity tapas, reading Adhyayana, the observance of rules pertaining to one's caste, Swadharma, exposition of Shastras, Vyakya, living in solitude, Rahas, recital of mantra, japa, and samadhi also lead to moksha. But generally, it is seen that these are only means of livelihood for those that have no control over their senses. And for proud people, they are sometimes a means of livelihood and sometimes not. But pride in itself is not a good thing. Thou art not separate from the universe. Both cause and effect are thy forms. It's not by avoiding the ways of universe, but by seeing thee everywhere by means of bhakti that the right course is followed. It is by striking one stone against another that fire comes out and not otherwise. Let the words of Asura boy resound from one end of India to the other. Let the sublime words of compassion and universal love be written in characters of gold and let them be engraven in the hearts of all Indians. Prahlada was made the king of the Asuras. Varna and Ashrama. Skanda 7, chapter 11 to 15. Narada related the story of Prahlada to King Yudhishthira at the Rajasuya sacrifice. That story revealed the highest devotion that was possible for a jiva to attain with the idea of separate existence. But separation also gave rise to the idea of difference. And as differences become established in society, duties and relations become manifold. Yudhishthira therefore appropriately asked Narada about the Varnashrama duties. The general rules to be observed by all castes are first given ethical, spiritual, and devotional. The specific duties and indications of each caste are then given much the same as given in Manu Sanhita, as also the duties of women. The following significant passage occurs at the end. The indications of each caste are given above. Example, restraint of the senses, contentment. For Brahmanas, courage, strength. For Kshatriyas, reverence, energy. For Vaishyas and humanity, service. And for Shudras. If, however, the indications of one caste are found in a man belonging to another caste, he is to be specified by the caste of his indications and not the caste of his birth. The commentary of Sridhara is explicit on this passage. This shows the liberality of the Bhagavata Purana. According to this Purana, the divisions of caste at the present day, for one must not forget that the Vaishnava movement belongs comparatively to a later period and are not to be determined by birth, but they are indicated by the virtues of each particular individual. The duties of each ashrama are next enumerated in detail. The enumeration follows the smritis with a word for bhakti yoga where necessary. Some very useful hints are given for a grihastha, for which please refer to the original book. The paths called Pitriyana and Devayana are next described. Hints on yoga and the recital of pranava are also given.